We're in volume 10 of the Bible story. You see, Bible story by Arthur S Maxwell. And we are at part 4, story 5, Horses of History. Okay? And it says, when Jesus began to open the seal and unroll the scroll, it was just as if he switched on a television set. One picture after the other passed before John's eyes, each one a symbol that was a symbol of some event that happened in the future. First, he saw a white horse, and his rider had a bow on and a crown given to him, and he went on out conquering and to conquer. He recognized the rider. It is Jesus himself, and the horse was his church, glorious white in its first love and purity. As it went galloping without with the as it went galloping with the gospel through all the Roman Empire. The second seal was opened, came out another horse, bright red, and its rider was given great a great sword with which he took peace from the earth. John must have wondered whatever this could mean, and he was the more puzzled then as the third seal was opened and he saw a black horse, and the rider had a balance in his hand. But the fourth scene was stranger still, for now the horse had become a grayish color. Actually, it says green. It says chlora, so green. Read it, you'll find out. Well, in one version, it's green. Okay, let me get back. And the rider's name was Death, and Hades followed him, and they were given power, and then it has the pause, to kill with the sword and with famine and with pestilence and by wild beasts of the earth. Whether Jesus explained these things to John, we are not told, but looking back across the years, we can understand them clearly enough. The four horses were indeed horses of history. They pictured the church of Christ from for the next 1900 years or more. Some people believe that this is what this author said, what Mr. Maxwell says, but there's a lot of theories going on about this stuff. Okay, let me get back to the story. They show how the church, once pure and beautiful, would lose its first love and become hardened and quarrelsome, seeking power from the state rather than from God. Then how it would forget that the gospel is free to all and would actually sell its blessings for money. And finally, how it would become the very opposite of all that Jesus intended it to be. Instead of offering life, it would bring death to millions through its cruel uh, persecutions. It is hard to understand how Jesus could know that all these things would come to pass long before they happened. And then, of course, it has the illustration by Herbert Rudin of the four horsemen on here. I have versions of four horsemen, but they're different from this. And this is their version. My version is a little different. Of course, I have the bow, but it is a rainbow. And then the red horse on mine has the peace symbol, a broken peace symbol behind him with a sword. And then this guy, who's on the black horse, he's fat and got pudgy lips and got a scale. And then this guy is riding a skeleton horse, and then flames are behind it. That's my version. I have it somewhere on the internet. That, um, but that's my version. Okay, let's get back to the story. Um, my version, of course, is different. Everybody has different ones for the four horsemen. Okay, but he did. History shows that his church was spoiled by sin, just as he said it would be. Had the moving picture stopped at this point, John might have thought that the preaching of the gospel would be a total failure, and that Satan would win the long struggle between good and evil after all. But that was not to be. When the fifth seal was opened, John caught a glimpse of all the beautiful followers of Jesus put to death because of their love and loyalty to him. And he heard a voice tell them to rest a little longer till their number should be complete. God had not forgotten them. They would be rewarded very soon. Then there was the sixth seal was opened. I looked, said John, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon became like blood, and the stars in the sky fell to the earth as the fig tree sheds its winter fruit when shaken by a gale, and the sky vanished like a scroll that is rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. So in other words, the blue sky turns to black, turns to night. That's my idea. So, okay, that's just my idea, because then the sky just rolls up. Because have you ever rolled up a piece of paper and rolled it up? That's what a scroll is. You just roll it up like that. All right, let me get back to the story. Then the kings of the earth and the great men and the generals and the rich and the strong and everyone, slave and free, hid in the caves among the rocks of the mount, calling to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand before it? What a tremendous scene! Without a doubt, it was shown to John to assure him that Christ would not fail to keep his, and then it stops. And you got a Herbert Rudin, 1957, two-page painting. Got lava coming down, and a guy looking up and seeing the heavenly host with their representation of Jesus on it, and everybody's running from the city and running to caves, and everybody screaming and looking sad and all. Here's the painting. See, it's got a lot of stuff going on. See up here, you got them running, And there they're going into the cave. Then you see the city burning and messing up, and everybody running. And then up at the top is Jesus and or the representation of Jesus and his glorious heavenly host there. Okay, let's get back. Without doubt, it was shown that to John to ensure him that Christ would not fail to keep his promise to return in glory, and that when he should do so, he would deal with all those who had treated his faithful ones so cruelty. The great earthquake may well refer to the one that shook in the world in 1755 as a fearful uh, as the fearful prediction of the Dark Ages had come to the end. The darkening of the sun and the blood-like appearance of the moon took place on May 19th, 1780, as we find as we found when we studied Jesus' other prophecies about his second coming in Matthew 24 and Luke 21. The stars on fell on the night of November the 13th, 1833, leaving only final scenes in this picture yet to happen. What about the seventh seal? When the Lamb opened the seventh seal, there was a silence in heaven for about a half an hour. Silence in heaven? How? Why? Because Jesus and all his holy angels will have will have come to this earth for his final triumph. On on his return to heaven, it on their return to heaven, it courts will ring again with his praise. If all these things should suddenly appear on your television set some evening, how would they affect you? If you should see the four horsemen galloping through history, picturing the sad story of the church, what would you think? If you should see the promised sign of Jesus' return, the great earthquake, the darkening sun, the moon, the blood red moon, the falling stars, which what would you say? And if you would see him riding in the sky, riding down the sky in all his glory, what would you do? It's time to think about these things. For surely, but now he must be near, even at the doors. Matthew 24, verse 33, American Version, or AV. And then it has a little girl looking at horror, looking at a TV set. And then you got a city, looks like an earthquake, the sun turning dark, a blood moon, and then the on the TV set, the stars falling. But they happen anyway. Well, they're happening now more. There's the earthquake, there's sun turning dark, moon, and then the children watching it on TV. I mean, just recently, we've had a bunch of blood moons come. through. But that is just something that happens. Is the blood moons? Uh, we had just a few years ago. We had like 4 or 5 right in a straight row. I mean, and some truck drivers want to listen to this thing up at night, up in the night. It kind of gets creepy, but you can listen to it, and um, truck drivers see the asteroids falling down. So it's common see. Okay, so that was the end of part 4, story 5. So I'm going to take the break, and I'll be back in a little while. See you in a minute.